What's up guys, I'm James from Midwest Protocol, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little different. I wanted to give you a quick snapshot, a behind the scenes look at how we produce battle reports, or namely how I produce them, because I'm basically just a one-man show with some of my friends and awesome people to help me out and record battle reports with me, but basically I do everything. One of the goals of this is just to let you be able to see the process so that if you wanted to replicate it in your world, you totally could. Or just maybe answer some of your questions about how we do things and kind of give you a little sneak peek of what it is like to be a part of Midwest Protocol, all of the work that goes into it to create each of these battle reports. So this video is going to be a little bit more long form. Hopefully that's okay with you. If you want to jump around, there are going to be timestamps so that you can be able to jump to each of the various chapters to kind of see more of the details that you might be looking for, whether that's the pre-production, the equipment that we use, how we shoot things, or even just how I edit the product itself to be able to get it out to you all. With that said, let's get into it. Let's start with the biggest question of all, and that is why I even do these videos. Whenever I jumped into Marvel Crisis Protocol a few years ago, one of the things I wanted to do was to just generally get better at the game. And one of the ways that I get better as a player is by watching my own gameplay. What I started to do was literally use one of my old iPhones, tape it to a pole, and I would literally just record the game the entire time. And some of my early battle reports that you can see on the channel are exactly that. There's just not much editing, if any at all, ultimately for the goal of me as a player to get better at the game. As time went on and I started to create more and more battle reports, I decided to put just a little bit more effort into them, trim down the fat and cut out just random talking, or to try to trim it down to a battle report would be roughly, ideally 45 minutes at most. So that was why I started, but it quickly became a goal of mine to just start to build a community because I fell in love with this game. As I played it more and more, I had a regular game night every other Monday at my house in literally my garage, and we would play MCP, me and 3 other guys. As time went on, I became more and more interested in the game. I loved the models, the rules. Honestly, it was my first miniatures game that I'd ever dived into. And so through that, I wanted to help continue to build the community as a whole. There was definitely a kind of behind the scenes thought where I'd be like, oh, it'd be really cool if, I'm able to get free product or get sponsored or anything like that. But that was all just like a small aspect of the goal of the channel as a whole, mainly because I had never really done YouTube before. I'd never been a part of social media in that sense, as far as creating content to build a community around. Ultimately, I just started helping out locally where I am from, and that kind of just grew over time. I started a Discord server and then really started to pour into the battle reports, trying to consistently upload them over time and just slowly grow the videos in the community and the sub count and the viewers and all of that, one video at a time. But I wasn't super stressed out about it because at the end of the day, it was just for fun and it was something that I really enjoyed. And to help me become a better player, to see my own mistakes. One of the unique aspects of it, it also allowed me to be able to play a lot of different characters and affiliations, because I knew that I did not want the channel to be just me playing X-Men for 40 games or me playing Web Warriors for 40 games. That didn't seem interesting to me, and I figured that other people would want to see all of the other characters that are coming out. And so as new characters came out, I started to make it a priority to showcase those characters as soon as possible when they drop. And that has been pretty successful for the most part. And we try to get them on the table within a week of a character dropping so that you can be able to see them and watch them play. Okay, so now you kind of get an idea of why I do what I do. Now let's talk about the gear. And frankly, it's nothing special. So I started with an iPhone, and for the longest time, we used the iPhone audio for the battle reports. Nothing else. It was pretty bad. And if you go back and rewatch them, you can definitely tell the audio is not great. Then I started to have an external recorder on the table itself. And so this was like an example of one that would be, it's actually randomly here on my desk. So it's right here. So I literally have it recording just the general audio around me and just have it sitting on the table, usually near the dice trays. And some of those early battle reports, kind of the probably the first 20 or 30, you can definitely hear it and see the difference. But ultimately, what I've landed on was using wireless microphones that work like a lapel, but they attach by a magnet onto the shirt, and the receiver connects by cord to an external recorder, and we record it to there, and then I sync it up in post-production. It's been great. I have loved the new microphone setup that we've done. And it was a little bit of an investment, but it was worth doing at the end of the day, just to make my life a little easier. The second piece of gear is our dice camera, and that is an old iPhone that was gifted to me from a friend. And that is literally this iPhone that is also randomly at my desk. And you can see there's like literally tape on it because it's like falling apart. This thing is trash. But one thing it does do is it records great for the dice camera. So literally I will put it on a small stand and have a top-down view over the dice, and it just records that, and I sync it up in post-production. It's pretty good. I have to have it, unfortunately, hooked up to a cord for power the entire time, otherwise it will immediately die. It fills up very quickly, but it has decent quality, and it works for the dice camera. The third piece of equipment is the main one, and that is our top-down camera. So I originally started with an iPhone for that, using my personal iPhone. Just literally set a wide view of the table, and I would crop it in or rotate it, however, in post-production. And then whenever I had to buy a new webcam for my personal, for work, and just for life in general, I decided to look around for one that made the most sense to potentially help me out with the battle reports. So it was kind of this happy accident that I needed a webcam at the time as well. And so I found one that I'd seen being utilized for Dungeons and Dragons and a few other streams called the Instalink 360. The thing that I really liked about that camera was the fact that it was on a gimbal and it could move around and zoom in and zoom out by setting presets on the application itself. And so what that means is I could set up a wide shot of the table itself, and then I could hit a button and it would zoom into a certain portion of the map. It was great. One of the downsides of that camera, though, is the fact that I have to have it directly connected to my computer or my laptop or whatever it is at the time. And it uses it's been a challenge, especially having moved to my new house that I'm in currently. Getting the cable to reach where my PC setup has been a challenge for sure. I've had more than enough technical difficulties of getting that cable to work well, and also just to get the setup to work well. But for right now, it works fine. It's great. It works out well, and it's been able to create decent battle reports at the quality that I can do. Because at the end of the day, I don't make like any money off of this at all. And so it's basically utilizing my personal funds to pay for everything and to get it together, to create the high quality content. And even though I have an eye for it aesthetically, and even though I know what I need to make it like next level, if I wanted to really amp it up, it's like hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, to be able to have those pieces of gear. And on top of that, it makes the editing process even longer because you're adding all these different camera angles. Instalink 360 is our top-down camera, and we utilize it for every battle report. Finally, we recently have started adding more detail shots, and you've noticed this potentially since the beginning of 2026. The very last battle report in 2025 had this as well, where we'd have close-up shots of characters or maybe different shots of action shots of the battle report itself. One thing I've noticed though is that I've not been able to efficiently record action shots of the battle reports, meaning I set up a camera to have more of a close-up shot from a profile angle or something while the game is going on, and also be able to enjoy playing the game itself. I've not been able to find that happy medium. So what I've decided to do, and the concession was that I ultimately will just record detail shots of the models themselves before and after the game. So we get these shots of the leader and all of the characters that are on the affiliation and for both teams, and that allows us to be able to have some shots to utilize through the game, whether it's for the round start or the round end, or for the introductions at the beginning of the game. I found this to be really cool. It's an opportunity for us to be able to showcase the actual physical models that are close up, some painting that we've been doing, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it doesn't matter. We're able to showcase it and have it more on the table for you all to be able to see that. But specifically, I utilize my iPhone for that. And I have an external lens that I attach to it for macro shots. And here's a picture of what that looks like if you wanted to find all of that. But it's easy. It allows me to attach different lenses to it and be able to have, whether it be close-ups, a really zoomed in shot, or something unique and different that, you know, doesn't necessarily make sense for the battle report, but it does come with a lot of different various lens options that you can just clip literally onto your phone. There are a lot of options out there like this. This is what we found to be super helpful for us. It was honestly pretty cheap, so I've been able to utilize that. There you go. That's the gear, essentially. An iPhone for the dice cam, Instalink 360 for the top-down view, my personal iPhone for the detail shots, and a wireless microphone setup for our audio. It's pretty straightforward. There's a few other things that are different about what we do here, and that is that in my office here, attached to the ceiling, I have a pole that will collapse down or extend with a mount on it where I can attach the webcam directly onto it. I've also thought about, if I didn't have that option, the other way that you could do this would be to have a stand that can go on either side of the table with a bar across it. So like a backdrop would be similar to that. And then you attach a mount to the middle of it and have your camera there. I've seen that done before as well, especially for streaming setups at different tournaments or conventions. It's a great way to be able to utilize that. But for me, since I'm already here and it's my office, I figured I'd just attach it to the ceiling itself. I also have a stand, a tripod that allows me to put a top-down view over the dice, and this is what that looks like. It allows me to fold over the arm of it to have the camera, the iPhone, directly over the dice throughout the entire game. So Marvel Crisis Protocol has a lot to it. I mean, I think at this point of the game, we have like over 200, if not close to 250 characters. I think it's insane how many characters are. It was one of the things that I thought would be really fun, is to try to showcase as many of those as possible, specifically different leaders. And so what that means is, in the preparation, when you are picking who is going to play what, there is some thought that goes into that. Sometimes we are specifically planning out exactly who is playing what, the threat value, the crises, all of that, to make sure to have the best potential option on the table. And other times, it's just like whatever competitive list or whatever list you want to play for this Monday night, we're going to record it and I'll make a battle report with that. So each week we will decide who is playing who, what affiliation they're playing. Is this going to be a battle report that focuses purely on only affiliated models and only affiliated team tactics cards? Or is it going to lean more towards, you know, semi-competitive or even fully competitive list in that sense, where anything is available and anything can go? And another factor is going to be, how recent was this model released? Is this a model that just released? Has it been on the channel yet? No? Okay, cool. We want to feature it. Almost always have all of our models painted. I try very, very hard to make sure all of the models are painted for the channel, at least to tabletop standard, if not completely finished. I just find that watching any battle report personally that doesn't have fully painted models, and it's just like gray models moving around, is not nearly as engaging. And so I figured, hey, I'm gonna go to the effort to make sure everything is painted so that people enjoy it more. Even at the very least, I personally enjoy watching that a little bit more. Once everything's been set, we record a quick intro where I introduce the table, who's playing who, and what we're bringing, and what affiliation we're playing, what leadership we're playing, who the leader is, what team tactics cards, what's the crisis setup, all those things. You see it in all the battle reports, but that is a part of the process of recording every game, especially whenever I'm not specifically in the game itself. So I will literally come over to the table and I'll give the spiel for whoever's playing. Most recently though, I've started to change up that process. To my benefit, I think it has allowed me to be able to thank AMG whenever they provide new models, or to be able to mention different things that we have going on the channel beforehand. And I've started to record opening videos where I will welcome you to the channel. I'll give you a quick overview of what's about to happen, maybe mention some product that we have in the on the video of that game, and then we'll jump to the game itself. In that same vein, whenever I am sitting here recording those videos, I am also recording the mid-game ad roll. So that's like usually just a call to action to remind people that, hey, we have an Etsy store. If you're looking for a product, please check it out. If you want to join our Discord server, hey, check that out. We'd love to have you. And then I also will record an ending video. So like, hey, thanks for watching. Thank you, AMG, for providing this for us. Hey, don't forget about these things that's going on. We have some promotions coming up, whatever. Those are all recorded right here at my table or my desk now. which I previously didn't do. And I used to just have like a generic video that I would just pop on every time. But now I make it personal and I record it every single battle report for you to change it up, and also just to kind of keep the flow going, because it's easier to set up now than what it used to be previously before I moved. All right, now let's talk about the actual recording. Whenever I am setting up the game, whenever we have the crises set up and the map set up, I will specifically make presets in Instalink 360 to be able to move the camera directly to the positions on the board where I believe the action will happen the most. Now, in practice, you will sometimes notice that it kind of stays fixed at a wide angle. There's a few reasons for that, and that is, generally speaking, I want the player to be able to see, or the viewer rather, I want you to be able to see the action of the board. The battle reports that I create are meant to be informational for you, so that you can see how a character is played, what they can do. Like, literally, it is a technical video in that sense. It's not necessarily like an entertaining video. Like, it is entertaining for sure, but if I was making it entertaining, there would be like cutaways of like me laughing and stuff, and or cutting to the other player like their actual person, like who they are and what they're all about. At the end of the day, I don't do that. It's all hands. And the most personality you get is from the audio, generally speaking, or from my hands. Like, what do I do with my hands? And so I want that to be, when you're watching the game, to like fully understand what's happening, ideally, hopefully. Especially for experienced players. For newer players, the goal for them is to be able to be like, okay, cool, like this is the ability that's popped up. All right, I see they're doing this attack. I see this is the range. I can see it very clearly. This is what's happening. And they kind of understand it that way. I find that to be very successful, because whenever I'm rewatching my battle reports, I'm like, okay, cool. I can follow what's happening. I can see what's happening, and I can understand the entire flow of the game without it being confusing or getting lost in the sauce, if you will. After that, whenever everything has been set up, we just start playing. I try not to interrupt the game as much as possible as we're playing, but there are a few key rules that I generally let my opponent know or remind them about. And that is, I try to stay away from using casual nomenclature, like gainers and builders, or, all right, my Star-Lord's going to do this 5 dice energy builder into Drax or whatever. Ideally, that's not the case. Like, I want you to be able to say, like, Star-Lord is going to use element gun into Drax. All right, now let's roll. In actual practice, that doesn't happen all the time. And oftentimes, it requires us to re-record the audio or redo things to make sure it works, so that you can be able to understand what's happening. But in the flow of it, like, we're all human, and a game, so it takes like 2 hours. There are definitely times where you get tired, or you forget to say it, or you miss it, and then it happens, and then you moved on. Generally speaking, we are trying to say the name of the attack and being very clear on like what's happening. So you can be able to, whether you're listening while you're working, or while you're actually watching itself, you're like, oh, okay, cool. That is what that does. Oh, okay, cool. James messed up that rule again. Perfect. Let me just like blow him up in the comics. Like, I just want to make it very clear. Like, we are actively trying to make it a worthwhile experience for you as well. Okay, let me pull back the curtain a little even further for you, so that you see something even more interesting. It's like, I had recently talked to someone about this, and they didn't realize that oftentimes what you see on the table is my first time piloting that list. And that usually means that I will miss things. That's just the nature of it, right? That's just the nature of the game. It's fun to try to navigate how to optimize a character or a list, having never really touched them or played them very much, maybe a couple times, if that, before I've recorded. Sometimes, literally, it's my very first time when I don't play them again after that battle report. Unfortunately, I don't have Corey or Dustin here every single day to record 5 different videos, nor do I have the time or energy to do that. And so when we do record every other week, that might be my one time to play that list, and then we throw it up on the internet, and then I move on to whatever else I'm playing, or the next thing that's coming out, depending on the release cycle of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Once the battle report is finished and we have finished recording, it is time to jump into post-production. Some of the early battle reports that I would do very, very little post-production. And that was specifically because I didn't want to spend the time and energy on it. As time went on and I recorded more and more, I quickly realized, hey, I need to trim these up, because man, there is a lot of dead space. Let me break down kind of the process of how I form post-production. I do post-production? I am post-production. Let me just break down what that process looks like. Step one is to bring in all the footage into DaVinci Resolve. I use DaVinci Resolve because, frankly, it's free. I don't want to pay for Adobe. It's just too expensive. It's not worth it. Even though I am extremely well-versed in Adobe products because I'd used it for years and years and years. Relearning a new editing software was a nightmare, but I did it. It's no big deal. So yeah, we use DaVinci Resolve. Bring in all my footage, and then I sync everything up. Once it all is synced up, we move into step two, and that is trimming the footage. So I will break down into each round, and each round I will then go through the footage, literally watching it, and start to trim out anything that is unnecessary. Long pauses, or if someone's thinking about what they want to do, there's a technical difficulty, or someone needed to go to the restroom, or whatever. The only things you are seeing on camera, ideally, is dice being rolled, characters moving, or someone saying what's happening. Yeah, step two is trimming the footage. Step three is going to be working on all of the graphics. I utilize graphics in a unique way, and that is I rip the graphics specifically for the characters from the character cards themselves. Someone's character, their healthy side is going to be on the graphic itself with their health there, plate for it with the text and everything. I have to create all the graphics for every character, for every superpower, for every crisis, for every team tactics card, everything. That's a very tedious process, but once you do it once, you don't really have to do it again. Once the graphics are created, I bring everything in, and then I start to work my way through each round, adding each character and their superpowers and attacks as they are being said on screen. I'll be adding each character and make it last the entire length that they're activated. And then anytime they perform an attack, I make that attack pop up. The target of that attack will show up on screen as well. Damage that goes through, wounds that go through, then I will adjust the health on screen for that as well. That's a very long and tedious process as well. Ultimately, I think it adds to the channel in a really big way, having the graphics on screen. And that's pretty much it. I add some transitions. I add a royalty-free music track that I loop under everything. I adjust the audio levels to make it all sound relatively fine. Then I add my opening and ending and my mid-ad roll, and I'm good to go. That's post-production. After the post-production is finished as well, I work on our YouTube thumbnail. So I have a template that I've created. I utilize GIMP for that. I have a very specific style that I utilize for our battle reports, towards now utilizing the models images. So I take pictures of each of the leaders model. I cut out the background. I put them on the screen itself. Once all of that is finished, right? I've edited, created the thumbnail, I've checked it, maybe, who knows, I upload it to YouTube, add the description to it, and I get it ready for publishing. And then I start to publish it. If I'm ready for publishing, I send it to a few Discords that I'm in. I post it sometimes, if I think about it, to Reddit. I've tried to be more consistent with that, post it to Reddit. And then I post it to Jarvis Protocol as well. Shout out to Jarvis Protocol, by the way. That site is top tier. If you are not utilizing it for your list building, highly recommend it. They have a community content creator space, and so I've started to post my videos there, which is really cool to be able to showcase it. Then it's live, and you either love it or you hate it, and we move on to the next thing. So that is essentially how I make battle. I know it's crazy. Like, man, there's a lot that goes into it. So the one question I haven't really talked about or mentioned yet is, how long does all of this take, right? Let me break this down. I guess the pre-production, setting up my office for recording, 30 minutes, right? Play a game for 2 hours. Post-production is between 4 to 6 hours, roughly. On average, I'm probably doing 8 hours of work, roughly, per video. It's a lot, for sure, and I do it in my free time as much as possible. But generally speaking, whenever we record a video, I try to have it finished within the next 3 to 4 days so I can post it to YouTube. Because ideally, I'm posting a battle report. The ideal situation is it would be going up once a week. But from a logistical standpoint, I just don't have as much time to record. And so it's usually more likely once every other week. Filter that out with like reveal videos and things like that as new content is being released or revealed from Atomic Mass Games themselves, which has been really helpful for the channel, being able to have just supplemental content that's relative to MCP. But I also want to start creating more content that's like this, where I'm just like kind of telling you about why I do what I do, what makes it interesting, answering any questions you may have about it, because I'm an open book. I fully believe in transparency. It's something that is a core value of mine. I also don't think gatekeeping knowledge like this is great. Like what's the purpose behind that? So if you want to make battle reports exactly like me, you totally could. Like, I'm happy to help you through that process, to show you what I do, because there's a lot of things that I've learned in the process that, you know, I feel like I do okay at, but there's also a lot of things that I see other content creators do that, man, I would love to be able to have my content reach, you know, 10,000 views every single video. You know, I would love that. But like, we average probably about 1,000 views per battle report, and that's fine. Like, I'm totally fine with that because I think our community is awesome. And they love seeing what we're doing here on the channel and being a part of it. The more people that see the videos means more people coming into the space of Marvel Crisis Protocol to play Marvel Crisis Protocol. And that, at the end of the day, is a huge win for all of us because, hey, we just want to grow the community at large, right? Not Midwest Protocol, but like Marvel Crisis Protocol. I want to grow that because I want more people to enjoy the thing that I love and I enjoy. So there you go. That is my overview of how I create battle reports for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Probably what I would do for any other game system if I was playing it, because at the end of the day, I've kind of perfected my process. It's as simple as it could be, with it being as minimal work as possible. You know, since this is basically just a hobby, I try to do it in such a way that it is the most unintrusive way within my life, to say the least. So hopefully you're able to kind of get a vibe for that and you can feel it. So like, if you are curious about anything else, you have any other questions, or you have any other thoughts, like, please feel free to comment below. I would love to continue to engage in the conversation about battle reports, how we make them, my YouTube setup, all of that, so that you can see it and you can be a part of it. If you have any advice, or if I like, hey, like, I would love to see more of this, you know, I'd be happy to tell you. You know, here's the thing. I know people want more close-up shots. Believe me, guys, I know, and I want more of them. But to pull back the curtain even further, the battle report in December, specifically, I had a friend come and he literally was recording the close-ups while Corey and I played. So I had a third person there, and that was super helpful. I just don't think I can do that on my own, like, and manage and also enjoy the game and play it, because at the end of the day, this is still just a hobby and it's something that I want to enjoy, and I don't want it to be work, because frankly, it doesn't make me enough money to, if anything, you know, to make it worth that. I know, guys, you want close-up shots. Hey, if I had more cameras I could set up, I would totally do that. So if you want to sponsor the channel, hey, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. MidwestProtocol@gmail.com. You know what I mean? No, but seriously, I know that's going to be a thought for a lot of you. But other than that, if you have other questions, like, hey, I'm literally happy to tell you as much as you want about what we are doing here, and I want you just to be informed. And hopefully it's enjoyable for you. Well, I'm James from Midwest Protocol. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but now it's time to get back to gaming.